All right, a very good morning. So I'm Usha, the English lecturer of MAIC. Today we'll be discussing the art of public speaking, specifically in the context of being a general public speaker, how to overcome the fear before, during and after, and also how to break the stereotype of what the mistakes or the good things a public speaker does. So now joining us here is Miss Angie, the
Hi.
Deputy Principal of MAIC and also a trained communicator. So Miss Angie, can you tell us a little bit about what public speaking is all about before we get into the art, so that our viewers, our audience will have an idea about it?
All right. Public speaker, a lot of people may think that it's very easy to do it. You just need to know how to talk and how to stand confidently on the stage and start expressing and bringing out the words. So I think being a public speaker, most importantly, is that what is the reason for you to be there, to be at the platform, on the stage, and what is the purpose for you to deliver a message. Right. So being a public speaker, you have a reason to be there, to be present, and what is it that you want your audience to receive. Correct. In terms of what kind of messages. Correct. So that's mainly whether to educate, to entertain, to inform, or maybe to instruct, if I may say. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So at least we have a ground understanding what is public speaking all about. But now, when we talk about being a public speaker itself, there's a lot of nerve-wracking moments that runs in every individual, okay, whether you're young, older. So when you are supposed to step up on a stage and be in front of the audience, that moment of things, your adrenaline rush, that's right. You cannot actually describe it. So let's jump right in that part now. Many people tend to get nervous on whether it's talk show or giving out a speech, or even for a stand-up comedian somehow. So being on a stage when they want to be in front of the audience. So what are some tips do you think that we should actually prep before? I mean, what we call this a pre-show jitters, so that somehow these people know how to prep themselves and be ready about it.
Right. I think most importantly is to conquer stage fright. A lot of people say that the worst thing, that the thing that they fear the most is actually becoming a public speaker. Yes. To speak in front of many people. Yes. I think that is not something unusual. Even for me as an experienced lecturer for so many years, the first class that I ever go in every semester, I will still get nervous. Yes. I'm nervous because I do not know who they are yet. Correct. I have not screened through the personality of my audience, or I do not know them much in order to design or engineer my way of delivering my message to the audience. So go back to how to make sure that we are always able to deliver the message successfully. Correct. Is preparations. Yes. You just need to make sure that you always be prepared before you go into any place, right, or anywhere that you are being invited to give a speech. I'm sure that some of us we aim to be a leader one day, but one of the secret recipe or one of the successful tips to be a leader is always be prepared to deliver a speech, and you need to know how to convey your message so that your audience will pay attention. Correct. So it's the preparation and always get ready the points that you want to deliver. Correct. And understand who are you talking to. Yes. So I'm sure that you won't be compare talking to a group of mothers and talking to a group of toddlers, right? It's totally different way of delivering a message. Okay. Hence, do some background research of your audience, and then curate your message to the way that your audience will be able to listen and also pay attention, and make it interesting. That's why I always feel like it's not something that is really, really difficult to overcome, okay, but it certainly takes a lot of practice.
Yes.
The moment when you understand the art of communication and how your body language and verbal and non-verbal communication work together,
Correct.
then you are able to deliver the message better and clearer to your audience.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, very true. So we have two main points here actually from Miss Angie. So first thing is preparation. You have to prepare yourself no matter what. You, as much as you want to be a spontaneous speaker, but if you have not prepped your points, then it's going to be an issue, of course. Then your audience will somehow lose touch with you, or there's too much of abstract information that is being sent out. Second thing is how you actually practice along with it. Right?
How do we actually practice and try not to use so much technical jargons where people have no clue what are you talking about?
Yes, very true. So now that's a great advice, Miss Angie. Now going on, so once our public speaker is already on the stage, so how do they actually ensure that their message is being delivered out clear and concise to the audience? How do they keep up to that?
Okay, rehearsal. First thing, you need to know that your speech is speech after you have written it, right? You must rehearse. You must maybe, one of the ways is that you look into the mirror, you practice in front of the mirror, or you bring a few of your fans or your audience or your family members, you force them to sit in front of you and then you practice in front of them, so that they can give you some genuine comments and opinions on how to improve it. But of course, besides rehearsing, you also need to know how you are going to dress up to be presentable, to be able to capture their attention when you are talking. So that's something that can also build up your confidence level. Your confidence level is based on how well are you prepared, how well prepared you are.
Yes.
So if you are not planning, not planning to do a good show, to give them a good show, then it's very difficult for them to engage with you throughout the whole session of the speech when you are on the stage.
Yes.
And most importantly is that you need to familiarize yourself with the stage. So you normally, what I will do is that if I am going to deliver a speech in front of a group of strangers, for example, I will always stand on the stage. I will give myself like 3 seconds just to stay still and just absorb whatever vibe that I'm getting and be comfortable with the people and starting to make simple eye contact when I'm getting comfortable. So the first few moments, first few seconds is always like people looking at you, they are like silence and whatnot. You are also looking at them at the same time. So you get yourself comfortable with the stage, with the vibe and the ambience, and then only you start.
Correct.
Unless if you are somebody who is very well prepared, you are so experienced, the moment when you go on the stage, you already know what to talk about, then it's totally different kind of setting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you watch a lot of TED Talks, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels.
Me too.
Yeah. So we learn a lot from them, and they are not professional public speakers.
Correct.
Not many of them are, but they have been practicing, and I believe that some of the assisting tools like PowerPoint slides, right, will assist them or as a complementary tool to help them to know what to talk about.
Yes, correct. So this, sharing you personal experience on how things are done in class when you want students to actually be a public speaker, but not exactly public, but in front of their classroom. Yes, sometimes they have very good AVA, audio visual aids, very nice, interesting, creative ones, but because they are not ready to deliver their points, they're not confident enough, they're not prepared enough, so they tend to have this stage fright and they lose the whole touch. So it kind of, they kind of lost the whole process there. Yes. But there's also some students who are actually well prepped with their public speaking content, but then the ABA kind of mess it up. So you see, guys, it comes hand in hand somehow. So you have to be always prepared to play along with it. But yes, coming back again, preparation is very important. It's only how you actually stand up as a confident speaker to your audience, and that's how you actually keep the bond going until the end. Right.
Yes. And if I may add, your slides are supposed to be something that is helping you out.
Yeah.
You should not depend too much on the content of the slides to the extent that you read the slides out, and that's really turning down the what is that, the mood of the audience.
Yeah, usually I tell my students that none of us here, I mean, not to sound rude, but none of us here have reading disability. We all can actually read from the slide. So you could do us a favor to read between the lines. That'll be much more
and also elaborate further and give a story. I always say that when you are going into a class, be it if it's a class setting or if it's in front of a group of people or maybe just a small group, it's always about just what is it that you want them to get at the end of the day. And also like in the class, if I feel that the momentum of the students are getting slower and slower, most of the time I will stop the class and say, hey, let's do some activities. But always remember that the attention span of an audience or a person is getting shorter and shorter. Their patience, right, is no longer that long and long lasting anymore. So you have to keep your message short, simple and nice to make sure that they get the highlights, they know what is it that you want to deliver, and at the same time hopefully that they have fun also. So your facial expression, your eye contact, your tone have to be clear, and you need to keep them engaged with you. So going back to stage fright, let's say if you are really scared to look into a group of people that you really have no idea who they are, and most scary part, the scariest part is actually like you feel they are all judging you. They are all looking at you one kind, like they are questioning about your credential. They do not know how good, they don't know whether you are telling the truth, or they may be at the same time Googling you or whatnot. There are a lot of noise in the head at the same time when you are on the stage. Hence, most importantly is that you always have to know you're already doing your best and you know what you are going to tell. And of course, whatever that we say, everybody will have an opinion for it. We cannot please anyone, right? So as long as you have done your homework, you are well prepared, and whatever that you intend to deliver is going to benefit and give advantage to your audience, I don't see an issue with it. So your fact findings have to be there as well. So we always talk about ethos, logos, and pathos, which if you combine all these three elements in your speech and the way how you deliver, it will be fantastic.
Very, very interesting. That's a very good input. All right. Now, Miss Angie, at one point you were mentioning about how to connect with the audience. So most of the time, most public speakers tend to think that, oh, okay, I'm going to give out a speech, I'm going to do this, I'm going to deliver it this way, and they go up to the stage, they start going on and on and on, and then they're done. Okay, thank you, I'm done. So how do you think an actual public speaker is supposed to connect with the audience?
Okay, to connect with the audience, first of all, we can, okay, have you ever encountered a public speaker that they are so into themselves, they are all about themselves, that they just keep on talking and talking, there's no full stop at all. There is no point for you to interrupt at all. Of course, being a public speaker, there are different ways of conducting. If it's a forum, then we will have a discussion or a chat first, and then we open to the floor for Q&A. That's how you get the audience to be more engaging with you. But if it's something like a TED Talk, you are only given 18 minutes to give a talk about your area of expertise. Then normally people will engage based on the way how you deliver a message. So if it's a funny one, then of course the rest will clap. Right? That's how they feel like, I agree with you. That's why they will be clapping, and then they will be applauding you with some of the comments that you made. Right? So you have to catch the point where what is the line that you know that this is something that will make them laugh.
Okay.
That's why sometimes as a public speaker, even though unless we are talking about something super serious, I believe that to some extent we may want to put in some sense of humor in our content to make sure that to make sure that we always engage with the audience. Of course, if you are talking about an eulogy, right, then it's a different set of a story lah. However, even a eulogy these days, people do not want to have a very saddening and kind of feeling. They may want it to be much more sincere, as long as it's sincere, genuine, and it's truly from your heart, even though it is a funny one.
Okay, that's a very good point. Adding on sense of humor to your speech is a very good way to connect with the audience, because that keeps them awake. Because as what Miss Angie mentioned, everyone's attention span gets shorter along the way when they are in a presentation room, in a seminar room, and so on, even in classrooms. The students have very short attention span. So, Miss Angie, another thing, do you think sometimes sharing personal experiences in a speech can actually engage with the audience in a way?
Yes, that's why I always believe that everyone can be a storyteller, because all of us, we have a story to tell. It's just whether we think that it's interesting or not, or how we want to deliver it. If you know a person deep enough or long enough, you will be able to understand that how would this person behave this way, and why would this person think and make decision this way. And every person who make different decisions, they will have to go through different kind of outcome of the decision that they make. Hence, to me, there is always a story behind a person, and it's for them to tell, for them to decide whether they want to tell or not. So in every speech that we deliver, if we want to make it like an impact, there is an impact or an appeal that we want the audience to bring home, you must always bring in the element of storytelling. When you tell a story, that is very unique to you. It's something personal, and not many people, and I would say that nobody can duplicate or use your personal experience. So, and if you deliver it in this form of storytelling setting, and I believe people will be even more interested to find out. So that maybe, let's say, if you're telling about your sad story, your past experience that you failed in the past, but now you become so successful right now, they may want to listen and learn from you the lessons that you have gone through, so that they don't need to repeat it.
Correct. Very true. I mean, agreeing to that part, sharing personal experience could be also a good tip on you delivering a speech. But again, based on what Miss Angie said, that we have to know our audience and how we can actually connect with our audience. So based on the context, the topic, the subject matter, and so on. Miss Angie, one more last question before we kind of end up the whole talk. Now, say now our public speakers are done. Okay, they have done their speech, they have given it up, done, dusted. Now, how do they handle the Q&A sessions from the audience? This is another nerve-wracking moment for them.
That's right. I think the scariest part is the Q&A. It's not so much of the delivering the speech or giving out the message. It's more of like, when you are in a press conference, after you have mentioned, given out your statements and whatnot, then there will be a group of people, they will raise their hands and ask questions. And to me, maybe I like to be in the position of giving out or doing some sharing. So I look forward to the Q&A session, because then only I know how engaging you are, whether you are listening to what I shared just now. So Q&A is not necessary that you must have the 100% true answer based on the questions that they ask. Well, if we do not know and we really have no idea how to answer that, but we don't want to look like we are really stupid in a way, right? So there are ways of us to handle it. So say, for example, if you know, of course, the best thing is if they are asking a good question. So that's why sometimes the public speaker or the person who is sitting down like now, right? They say, oh, you have just asked a good question. That is because they really want to add on to what they have missed out in the speech. Okay,
yeah.
But if let's say if people really ask you a questions where you do not have answer at that moment of time, then we'll just say that, oh, that's a good point. That's a good point that I would like to venture more or explore more, and maybe perhaps after the show you can leave down your contacts, we can connect, and then we can explore together.
That's how you be.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
So we always have to be ready that we don't have exact answer for every questions that people ask, but there is certainly a way for us to respond. So by responding, it doesn't mean that, oh, now I have to find out the answer for you immediately where everyone is there. No, maybe like, maybe I can take down this contact, your contact, or maybe we can discuss further after this session, and then let's go to the next question.
Yes, that's a good way on how to handle. So it's not that you're saying you don't know, but you're willing to work with it. All right, so that gives a confidence to your audience. Okay, so this speaker is not a person with 100% of the knowledge, but willing to actually venture further on that part.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Miss Angie. Now, one last thing before we sum up. What are your final thoughts for our aspiring public speakers, like whether they are working adults or students or young school leavers? What do you have to tell them when it comes to this whole art of being a good public speaker?
Well, first of all, of course, I always heard that standing in front and talking in front of people, right, is as scary as going on a roller coaster, But I think everything is possible as long as you have the grit to know that this is a part of practices. You just need to make sure that you practice and do your homework by doing some background research on your audience, understand the nature of the topic. So if you're really not an expert in that area, let's say if I know nothing about public speaking, right, sitting down here will certainly make me super nervous. That's because that's not my area of interest. But if it's my area of interest, I would like to continue the sharing session because I have so much more to share. So that's one thing. So you need to know that what is the topic that you're really talking about.
Correct.
And also you have to be very purpose driven. What is the purpose for you to give that speech out? And what is it that a difference that you're going to make after the speech? And I would always think that it's good that we refer to some professional speakers. I think some students, they are stuck at the part of language barrier.
Correct.
My English is not good, my Malay is not good, hence I'm not confident enough. But like I say, practice makes perfect. So you just need to do more practice. And of course, if you can convey in your mother tongue, that is better. However, if you can't, then you just need to make sure the points are there.
Yes, correct.
The points are there and it's very clearly when you are making a statement. So my final thoughts about public speaking is that when you are already in a position where you have to give speeches anywhere you go, you just need to be ready all the time, then it becomes something like a habit already.
Correct.
So it is not difficult, you just need to make it like a normal thing. But of course, first thing you must start with knowing how important it is that you work with your body language and your eye contact, your facial expression, and also how to choose the correct word to use when you deliver a speech. So I mentioned just now about the ethos, logos, pathos, where you need to have the actual fact, you must have the emotion, right? And also you need to know what credential that you are carrying so that people will find your statements believable and trustable.
When you say credential, it's more of someone's personal
Your
belief
qualifications
system.
and your background, and so that people find that whatever statement that you make is actually much more credible.
Understood. Okay. That's very, very insightful information from Miss Angie. Thank you so much, Miss Angie, for joining us today. Whatever tips was given today, I believe, honestly to myself, it's very much valuable. So we hope that it can also be beneficial to our audience, whether you're a working adult, whether you're a student, or you could be a school student, doesn't matter. As long as you actually capture what was mentioned and you actually start applying it.
And
Yeah.
if I may add, I would say that actually being a public speaker, not necessarily because you are a coach, a lecturer, or a trainer. It can happen anywhere. When you are doing pitching your proposal, let's say for
Oh,
business business students, right? When you need to pitch your idea out, or for graphic design students, when you need to express your artwork, these are all presentation skills that you need when you are explaining to the judges, or when
Yeah.
you're explaining to your lecturer, or when you're explaining to a potential client who is about to buy in your idea.
Yes.
So it applies to almost any area or any industry. That public speaking skills is not just for public speaker, but it's also for your daily routine,
Yeah.
your daily lives
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting fact that way. So it's applicable to a lot of people than we actually thought they are. So it's not that you have to be a selected public speaker, but anyone, actually, all of us are doing it somehow in our daily life in the very smallest scale. So thank you very much, Miss Angie,
Thank
for your
you.
time. All right.
Right.
So we hope you had a good session with us, and there'll be more to come in the future. Thank you very much.
Yes. If you have time, please drop by to MAIC campus, and we can have more discussions if you
Yes.
are interested to find out more
More.
about public speaking skills.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Take care.